You have heard it 100 times. 90% of restaurants fail in the first year. It is one of the most repeated statistics in business, and it is almost entirely wrong. The real number is both smaller and stranger, and once you understand what actually kills restaurants, you will never look at a new opening the same way again. Start with the truth. The best current data puts first-year restaurant closures at around 17%, not 90%. So more than 4 out of 5 make it through year 1. But here is the catch that the myth gets half right. The failures pile up later. Roughly 30% are gone within 3 years, and about half have closed by year 5. So the restaurant did not fail on opening night. It bled out slowly over months and years from wounds that were often built in before the doors ever opened. The first year is not when most restaurants die. It is when the countdown starts, and whether that countdown ends in survival or closure is usually decided by a handful of boring, unglamorous numbers. And that reframes everything. A restaurant that closes in month 18 did not suddenly go bad in month 18. The seeds were planted on day 1, in the lease that was too expensive, the reserve that was too thin, the menu that was priced on hope. The kitchen and the dining room can be excellent the whole way down. The failure is happening quietly on a spreadsheet nobody is looking at. And the biggest of those numbers is cash and reserve. Undercapitalization is the single most common cause of restaurant failure, full stop. It means opening without enough money to survive the slow early months. A new restaurant almost never makes money right away. It takes time to build a reputation, to find its regulars, to get the kitchen running smoothly and the waste under control. That ramp-up can take 6 months to a year, and during that whole stretch the rent is still due, the staff still need paying, and the suppliers still want their invoices settled. The rule the survivors follow is simple. Keep 6 to 12 months of full operating expenses in the bank before you open. Skip that, and the first quiet stretch does not just hurt, it ends you. This is why a packed, well-reviewed restaurant can still close. Busy is not the same as solvent. Picture 2 identical restaurants opening across the street from each other. Same food, same prices, same crowds. One opened with a year of expenses in reserve, the other spent everything on a stunning fit-out and opened with 2 weeks of cushion. A slow January arrives as it always does. The first restaurant shrugs and rides it out. The second cannot make payroll, starts skipping supplier payments, loses its credit, and is gone by spring. The diners never saw a difference. The only thing that separated survival from closure was a bank balance nobody but the owner ever knew about. Sitting right next to undercapitalization is cash flow, and the two are cousins. Cash flow problems are behind an estimated 60% of restaurant failures. Money comes in daily but goes out in big, lumpy chunks, a quarterly tax bill, a bulk food order, a broken walk-in fridge, and if the timing is wrong, a profitable restaurant on paper can simply run out of cash in the bank. Then there is the lease, the decision you can least undo. The healthy target is rent below about 10 to 15% of revenue. Sign a glamorous spot where rent eats 25%, and you have handicapped the business before you have cooked a thing. Add dense competition on the same street and the odds get worse still. Location is not just about foot traffic. It is a fixed cost you are married to for years, and the wrong corner quietly taxes every single plate you sell. Even a well-funded restaurant in a good spot is fighting a rising tide. The 3 big operating costs, food, labor, and rent, have all been climbing, and together they are the single biggest pressure in the industry. Food costs have jumped on the back of supply chain shocks, so the same dish quietly costs more to plate than it did a year ago. Wages have risen because good staff are scarce and hard to keep, and labor is often a restaurant's largest controllable expense. Rent rarely goes anywhere but up. The brutal part is that a restaurant cannot simply pass all of that on. Raise prices too fast and customers notice and leave. So margins get squeezed from both ends, costs pushing up while prices can only creep, and a business that was healthy at opening can be underwater 2 years later without a single thing going obviously wrong. This is the trap that catches even experienced operators. They did everything right at launch and the ground simply moved under them. A 3% rise in food cost and a 3% rise in wages does not sound like much, but on a restaurant already netting only 5%, that quietly erases most of the profit. The menu that made sense on opening day slowly stops making sense, and unless the owner is recosting dishes constantly, they may not even notice until the year-end numbers come in red. The rest of the failures come from mistakes that are painfully avoidable. Menus priced on gut feeling instead of real food costs, so the busiest dishes actually lose money. Inventory that walks out the back door or spoils in the fridge because nobody is counting it. Staff churn so high that the restaurant is always training and never running smoothly. And weak marketing, so a genuinely good restaurant stays a secret. None of these are dramatic. Each one just shaves a little more off an already thin margin until there is nothing left. The restaurants that survive are rarely the ones with the best food. They are the ones that treated it as a business, opened with a cushion, watched their food and labor percentages like a hawk, chose a sensible rent, and priced every dish on the actual numbers. The romance gets you in the door. The spreadsheet is what keeps the door open. So the 90% myth is wrong, but the lesson underneath it is not. Restaurants do not usually die from bad cooking. They die from bad math slowly in the dark. Follow for more on how hospitality actually makes its money.